Do you want to host a mega open house? Hey, it's Stuart here from Tips for Success. And really, this morning, what I want to talk about is something that has come across my table so many times. You see, I've got agents that come to me and say, Stuart, I've sat down with my seller. They've got a beautiful home. It is well priced. We've done all the comps in the area. It is well priced, but we're just not getting the feet through the door. What can we do? Now, I remember back a couple of years, I had this listing that was part of a subject to. In other words, I had to sell my buyer's home in order to conclude a particular sale. And I was stressed for time. I needed it to get concluded before the end of the year. What did I do? I hosted a mega open house. And when I hosted that mega open house, I actually got 34 families through that property. I actually got 3 offers on the day. But what was so beneficial and so fantastic for me is I picked up 2 further listings from people in the neighborhood. That was a mega open house. And I know I've had agents ask me so many times, Stuart, what can we do to do such a thing? Well, that's exactly what I want to share with you and give you my tip that will help you to host those mega open houses and show days to get the feet through the door. Why? Well, when somebody walks through the property, it's at that moment that they know they're going to either buy it or not. You see, just looking at the pictures on the internet are great, but that only gives them the attraction. So what can we do? So here's my little tips that I want to share with you today. The first, it's the most obvious, a for sale board needs to go outside that property. It is so important to have that for sale board that everybody can see. But more importantly, I want to take a little bit deeper on that for sale board. Make sure that your image is on that for sale board. Make sure that it stands out with your face and your number. Why? When people walking past, they can associate to images, not just words and logos. So make sure that you've got your image, even if you only have 1 or 2 of these boards that are specific for your show days. Make sure that it stands out. Even make it a little bit bigger. But then when you add onto that particular show board, that for sale board, add on show or open house, so that when people are driving past, it stands out, and the wording, this Sunday, this Tuesday, whichever day it is, have that on that particular board. This will give that awareness for the neighbors and the people driving around. So that is so important. So don't just have the standard for sale board, upscale a little bit. Have it as that unique, hey, this property will be an open house, this will be a show day, and put that outside the property. The next is on the day of the show day. And I've driven around a lot of neighborhoods and I've noticed agents put out maybe 2 or 3 pointer boards. And ultimately, you kind of get a little bit lost. My recommendation, and this is what I did, I had a minimum of 15. In fact, I had 20 pointer boards pointing in every corner, pointing towards this particular property. And when they arrived at that property, they saw this big for sale board that said on show or open house. I had teardrops and flags. I really made it a spectacular so people knew exactly where it was. So minimum, my recommendation, minimum of 15 pointer boards, and they need to be up at least 24 hours before the actual show day or the event, so that you can actually get that awareness around to get people engaged and they point it towards your property. Then what we need to do is, now that we've got that physical environment where people can see it, we need to get that digital environment. So we need to make sure at least 5 days before the event, and I regard these as events, 5 days before that event, you need to make sure that in all the portals, all the social media, everywhere, you've actually got the notifications out that it is going to be an open house, it is going to be on show, and you need to make sure at least 5 days before, and make sure every single day that notifications are there, it's vibrant, and people can see it. If it's going onto the social media, post it every day. Don't just post it once. Make sure it's every day, that it's going out to build that awareness. It's a lot of work, but you want to get those offers and you want to make sure that you get that greatest awareness. So at least 5 days before. Then this was the little tip and secret that I did. You see, I just didn't want to have random people coming through to my open house or show day. What I wanted the neighborhood to come through to this particular show day. So that's exactly what I did. I went out, I went door to door, I dropped off personal invitations, I spoke to neighbors, I phoned neighbors, and I invited them through to this particular show day. Why? Well, here's something that you all know. It's simple curiosity. People have a curiosity when there's something that they don't know about. So when there's a show house going on or an open house, they want to actually see. They want to know, what does the inside of that house look like? Well, here's an open invitation allowing them to come in. Now, many agents might say, that's the nosy neighbor. No, it's not. That nosy neighbor could be your next client. That could be the next property that you could list. So invite all around the area. I set a target of 100 households around that property to give them invitations. So either by the flyer, either by door knocking and speaking to them, or giving them a phone call. I had that as a target to invite them through. And then I'd say, not only you, but invite your friends, invite your family to come through. And that's how I got my final offer on that property. It was a neighbor who brought her sister, who had just landed from the US, came in and said, hey, I know you want to be in the area, come through and have a look at the property. And they loved it. So make sure that they also invite people and make it that particular event. Now, when you start getting these people through your property, what you want to make sure of is you have a register, because this is the quickest way to build that database and build up more clientele, whether it's buyers, whether it's sellers, or whether it's just people that like to come through, and they can then spread the word, hey, we have an open house or a show day, and they become your roadies, if you want to think of it that way. So make sure that you have that register, and when they come in, they need a sign, and it's so easy. When someone says, hey, I don't want to put my details down, say, well, you are coming into my seller's property, and they just want to make sure that they're aware of who's coming into their property. And I can tell you now, everybody will sign. As soon as they sign, give them a pamphlet or a flyer detailing that particular property. They love to walk around the property, see the facts, see the property, and that becomes a lasting impression. You see, you want to give that property the maximum exposure, and it's all about getting the feet through the door. So how do we do that? Host your next mega open house or show day. Follow the simple tips and steps that I've just shown you now, and you will see that it will start to grow this momentum on a continual basis. And I look forward to seeing what results come from that. So my question, when are you going to host your next mega open house?